Thank you, Jackie. Almost a week after his father was sentenced to 26 months in prison, Cameron Collins learned his fate, which will not include jail time. The son of former Congressman Chris Collins was spared incarceration today for his role in the insider trading scheme that's led to his father's fall from grace. 2 on Your Side's Dave McKinley has more from New York City.
Cameron Collins made a tearful apology today to a judge who then addressed him saying, "I'm going to give you a tremendous break." And a tremendous break it was indeed. Cameron Collins left the courthouse without comment in the company of his mother, sister, and fiance after learning his sentence would be 5 years probation, including 6 months home confinement, 500 hours of community service, and a $150,000 fine. Early in the sentencing proceeding, the government, which had been pushing for him to serve 3 to 4 years in prison, changed its stance, suggesting the younger Collins be sentenced to no more than the 2-year term handed his father, former Congressman Chris Collins, last week, calling him the most culpable of all. The defense also threw the elder Collins under the bus, saying Cameron didn't invite his dad to illegally pass the news of the failed drug trial that would cause the stock price of Innate Immunotherapeutics, an Australian company of which Collins was a board member, to tank, and that it was his father who up till then controlled Cameron's interests in that firm, who not only advised him to sell but coached him how to do it in order to save more than $500,000 in losses. Prosecutors still wanted some jail time, though, insisting Cameron Collins was old enough to make his own decisions on what to do with the information his dad had passed to him, and old enough to be held accountable for trading on it and alerting others to sell. Cameron said his dad was so distraught over the failure of the hoped-for MS drug and his son's impending losses that he felt that if he could sell to avoid his losses, it might make his dad feel better. Despite the defense characterization of Cameron's actions as a panicked, one-time act, the judge noted he had plenty of chances to act not illegally, including not lying to the FBI about what happened when they showed up at his door 10 months later. When it became his turn to speak, Cameron addressed that, saying he was never so scared in his life, save for today. "I knew if I told the truth, my dad's career was over and he'd go to jail. I'm not saying it was right, and it's not an excuse. I screwed up royally. I betrayed my core values. I lied to protect the people I loved." Among those was his future father-in-law, Stephen Zarsky, who Cameron encouraged to invest in Innate and whose impending loss he felt responsible for, and who he tipped off so that he wouldn't lose his shirt. Stephen Zarsky, the third person indicted in connection with this insider trading scheme, will be sentenced tomorrow. In Manhattan, Dave McKinley, Channel 2 News.
Thank you, Dave. Again, prosecutors originally wanted more than 3 years in prison for Cameron, and the fact he received 0 prison time came as a surprise to 2 on Your Side legal analyst Barry Covert.
We were signaled by the judge yesterday through the questions that he filed for both sides to answer that it was going to be a favorable sentence. They were softball questions that really showed that the judge understood that Chris Collins, the father, was really kind of in charge of his son's finances and what he did here and how this all went down. And the questions that the judge asked 2 days before sentencing last week of Chris Collins were very severe, and you could really tell that this was going to be a harsh sentence on Chris Collins. So we all expected a favorable sentence, but I don't know that anybody expected 0 jail time at all.
Covert expects the judge to be lenient on Zarsky when he's sentenced tomorrow. Dave McKinley is staying in New York City for that decision, which we will bring to you on air, online, and on the 2 on Your Side app.